I look... Oh, God. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is a different setup, a different video. Basically, today I'm going to be planning my May TBR. This is part 2 to my challenge where I'm trying to participate in every single readathon and book club that I came across within a set amount of days. So if you haven't watched part 1, please have a look at that one. That's when I discover every single readathon and conclude how many readathons I will be doing in May. But in this video, we're actually gonna plan what books I need to read. And this is gonna be a challenge because in May I am apparently participating in 8 different readathons and 4 book clubs. I usually fail if I go about 2 readathons, so this is gonna be interesting. I wanted to share with you how my process will look like. I need a plan for how to approach this. And my plan is that first we're going to look at the dates. When will these readathons, book club, live shows be happening? By when do I need to read a certain book, basically? First we're just gonna look at all the dates, and then we're gonna look first at the book clubs, because the book clubs have specific books that I need to read. So we need to look at those specific books, and I also need to figure out where I can get a hold of those books, because perhaps those are books I don't have access to. So I need to look at my shelves, and I also need to look at Scribd, at Kobo, my library, figure out where can I get this book. Do I need to purchase any books? Following that, we will look at the readathons, and the readathons we're gonna do in order of how long that readathon is. So we're gonna start by looking at the shorter readathons because those are more specific, and then we're gonna work our way up to the month-long readathons. I also need to have a look at if I need to register for any readathons, because sometimes you collect points for readathons, and I have also already tried to prepare like stacks of books. I can show you. I have prepped my G here, like I'm so prepared. I have my gimbal here. So yeah, my floor is messy, but I have a couple of stacks here of books for the various readathons. Those are the main things. Another thing I have to consider is my May TBR, because the thing is, I actually already picked my May TBR. That was before I decided to do this. So I randomized my May TBR, and I have a stack of books here that were picked for me to read in May. So I have these 4 plus the float plan and also the road trip. Those are 6 books I need to read in May. So I need to see if I can work these books into those readathons. I'm gonna say I'm not that optimistic about it. And then also in my May TBR, I said that for the DesertAthon, which is one of the month-long readathons, I was gonna aim for the soft goal. Well, since I'm actually going for most of the prompts in all the other readathons, it's a bit unfair that I'm aiming for the soft goal in the DesertAthon. So I've actually pulled up the DesertAthon board on my screen so that I can make the rolls and actually do the entire board game thing for DesertAthon. So we're gonna be doing that as well. We need to get to work. Also, I'm currently washing clothes in the laundromat in this building, so I'm gonna be running a bit back and forth, but it's fine. I have a coffee. We're just gonna have to see how this goes. Let's just start by looking at the dates. When will these readathons be happening? I've already prepared this spread of the calendar so that I'm at least a tad bit prepared, and I have my mild liners. So we're just gonna color code when these readathons are happening so we can see which overlaps and so on. So let's start by going by the month-long ones. This looks stupid. I should have done this beforehand. I'm sitting at a weird angle as well, so that's not the best. This is really bad. Okay, that looks stupid. Let's move on. We have the EurovisionAthon and the final book support group, both happening the first 2 weeks of May. EurovisionAthon. Let that one be purple, because why not? And it's from now until the 14th. So I'm just gonna... this is not turning out how I imagined it to. Should I just redo this? It looks so stupid. Okay, no, we're... Apparently we're doing this. It looks so stupid. I shouldn't have done the month-long ones. Like, that one's obvious. And I already set it up and everything. God damn it. Okay, yeah. Final book support group, yes, okay. It's not on the first though. I already messed up. Let's redo this. This looks stupid. It's just colorful. I'm freaking out already. This is not going great. I made a new setup. I freehanded it. It does not look that pretty. But now I won't mark the month-long things. I will only mark the shorter than 1 month things, basically. Let's start with EurovisionAthon. EurovisionAthon is from the 1st until the 14th. So dragging it like so. There. That's EurovisionAthon. We then have the final book support group. That one is from the 2nd until the 15th. Cool, okay. Kind of looks better, not perfect, but better. We have BookoplAthon, which happens between the 21st and 22nd. BookoplAthon, let's make it green. That's that weekend. And we have the Smut Den, which is between the 12th and the 15th. I guess it's basically, for me, 13th until the 15th. Let's go with that. That's SmutDathon. And then there is the Mafia romance one. Let's make Mafia romance pink, because why not? And that one is between the 5th and the 8th. I also think that might be like 6 to 8. I don't know how many days that one is for. I'm gonna put it down for 5 to 8. It might be 6 to 8. For me, I'm not certain. So, does this make more sense? Maybe. Eurovision. We then have Mafia romance. We have final book. We have BookoplAthon. And then finally we have 72-hour Smut Den. Okay, those are the readathons that are sort of happening. Okay, next up I need to have a look at all the book clubs and see when each book discussion is happening. I'm not certain how to figure this one out, so you're gonna have to give me some time to see that. First one is the Rake Appreciation Society. I'm already stressed, y'all. Live show May 19th, 6 p.m. MST. I don't know what MST is. 6 p.m. MST. To Zest. Ha! It's 2 in the morning in Sweden. Nope. I won't be participating in that live, but I will at least try and read the book. Cool, we have that one down. Okay, next book was For Literally Dead. How do I know about this one? Is there a Discord for this one as well? Usually there is, I guess. End of each month, early following month. Okay, they don't seem to have a date. I think I have most of the month to read Confessions. So I'm gonna put it on the 31st. Next book is Queens, Witches and Valkyries, The City of Dusk. Let's see about that one. When's the live show? When is the live show, my friend? Okay, the thing is, people who use Discord need to remember to use the link that does not expire within the next 7 days. Because now when I'm trying to join people's Discords in order to know more about the books that I need to read for the book clubs, the invitation to the Discords are not valid because the default link is a 7-day link. It only lasts for 7 days. You need to change the setting so it's a link that lasts forever. Please keep that in mind. This is a bit annoying. So, okay, I have no clue when City of Dusk is due, so I'm gonna put it on the 31st. The final book club I need to have a look at is the Enchanted Book Club. I don't think that Enchanted Book Club usually announce their dates that early on. It's probably also that you have the entirety of May to read it, I think. So I'm gonna put it down as the 31st as well, because why not? So the book for that one is The Wrath and the Dawn. Those are the book clubs. We also need to consider these books now, like where am I gonna get a hold of them? For the Enchanted Book Club, I actually do own The Wrath and the Dawn, which is perfect. Next up, we have the book for the Rake Appreciation Society, The Marcus Makes His Move. I think I had a look for The Marcus Makes His Move, and I think it is available as an ebook on my Kobo, so I might just purchase it there. It does also exist as an audiobook on Scribd. Similarly with Confessions, that one is available as an ebook on Scribd. It is available on my Kobo as well. It's quite expensive though, I would say, so I'm not sure if I will buy it there or if I will just simply read it off my phone then. City of Dusk is the one I'm a bit worried about, mainly because it's a new release, I think. City of Dusk is quite expensive as an ebook. I looked before, I don't think my library has it because it's that new. Let's see if it is on Scribd. Otherwise, I might actually buy it myself, go to a bookstore and pick it up, because I do prefer to read fantasies in physical format. I am doing my book buying ban, but I do have a prompt which allows me to buy a book for a video, and I would kind of say that this is for a video. So I might actually use that. No, it's not on Scribd, so I guess I need to purchase this book, either as an ebook or a physical book. Most likely is as a physical book. Those were the book clubs done. Let's talk a bit more about the actual readathons and what my goals are for those specific readathons. For the Mafia romance readathon, which is happening first out of these shorter readathons, there are a bunch of suggestions for prompts with many, I would say, sub-categories to Mafia romances. But the thing is, I have never read a single Mafia romance in my life. So I think for this weekend, when this readathon is happening, my goal is going to be to read at least one Mafia romance. That's it. I think that if I read at least one Mafia romance, I will be able to hit at least one of those subcategories. Please leave suggestions for Mafia romances if you'd like. I do have one in mind, and that one is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. Madison from Princess of Paperbacks has made me really intrigued to read Sophie Lark's books, and this is the first book in the Brutal Birthright series, and it's about, I think it's the heir of the Irish Mafia or something like that. Somehow the Irish Mafia is involved. This one is a bit difficult to find, mainly because I have a Kobo, not a Kindle. If I had a Kindle, I would have been able to purchase this long ago. But it's not available as an ebook on Kobo, it's not available on iBooks, it's not really something I can order off of Amazon. It's very difficult for me as a Swede to get a hold of this book for some reason, but someone has uploaded it to Scribd as a PDF, so I am going to try and read it there. Actually, what's perfect is that this Mafia romance happens while the EurovisionAthon is going on, and since this is about the Irish Mafia, I think I should be able to count this for Ireland. I'm thinking, look at me, I'm thinking. If I manage to read at least one Mafia romance during this time, I will be happy. And if I can count the books that I'm reading for these shorter readathons for my larger readathons, that would be even better. The next short readathon that is happening is the 72-hour Smut Den Readathon. This one is quite difficult to plan for because basically you have a light wheel with lighter prompts or tropes and a dark wheel with darker tropes, and you pick a wheel for the day. So, and the readathon is happening for 3 days, so you pick a wheel for the day and the prompt it lands on is the prompt you need to read. I can't really plan for this now, but basically I'm gonna aim to save a few of my romance novels that I'm considering to read, and hopefully if I spin the light wheel, because I feel like that one would work better with what I need to read in May, then I will be able to actually get through some of these books and match it up with the Smut Den Readathon. The two books that are on my May TBR at the moment are The Float Plan and The Road Trip, and both of these are romances, and hopefully they can work for whatever prompts shows up on that lighter wheel. Another book that I'm considering to read and that I will make work with other readathons as well is The Heart Principle. This is the third and final book in the Kiss Quotient series that I really enjoy. It's quite a quick read, it's smutty, like all of the books have been smutty, so it should work for Smut Den. But once again, I'm gonna say that for the 72-hour Smut Den, my goal is mainly to read one romance book. Next, we have the BookoplAthon that is happening between the 21st and the 22nd of May. Once again, this one is a tad bit difficult to plan for because you roll as you go in this readathon. So every 12 hours, Becca will roll the dice for her BookoplAthon boards, and that's when we'll get the prompts. We know the first two prompts. My aim, that I know that Becca has aimed for previously as well, is to combine the two prompts, because basically you can do whatever you want with this. You don't need to read 8 books in one weekend. You don't even need to read 2 books or whatever. Like, you can do you. I will try and aim for reading 4 books, I think. There will be 4 roles in total, and with each role there will be 2 prompts. So what I'm gonna try to do is to combine the 2 prompts. We already know the first set of roles. The first one was to read a small book, something that's less than 300 pages, and the second prompt was to read something that relates to God or gods. You can be how abstract you want with this one. And there's one book that in particular I'm very interested in reading, which is called Gods Behaving Badly. And I looked it up on Goodreads and it is less than 300 pages. Obviously it has gods in the title. I think it's something about like, what if gods lived in our modern times? How would they act? What would it be like? I need to check where I can find this book. I don't think I can find this one anywhere. That's the difficult part. I might need to buy this one. So it is available as an ebook on Kobo. That is good. I might actually purchase it. We're gonna have to see. It does not look like it's available on Scribd. Oh, I could read Neon Gods by Katie Robert, because that one shouldn't be that long, right? Okay, it's long. It's 380 pages. That won't work. If you have any suggestions for books that somehow relates to gods and is less than 300 pages, please let me know. Another book I am considering to read for this particular prompt is actually Smoke Gets in Her Eyes by Caitlin Doughty. It's a sort of memoir about someone who works in a crematory, and it is less than 300 pages. It's about 250 pages. And since this has a lot to do with death, I kind of feel like perhaps there could be some mention of God in the book at some point. Religion, whatever. I don't think it is. I think it's more scientific than spiritual. I don't really know. She seems to talk a lot about like breaking it down, making it feel very non-dramatic, the entire thing of working in a crematory. But perhaps there might be some mention of gods. If you've read this book and if you know if there's something that might relate to a god or to a religion or I guess death in a way that you think would work with a very abstract god prompt, please let me know. But those are currently my two options for the BookoplAthon, but once again, once that weekend rolls around, we're gonna get new prompts and I need to be quicker with what I'm going to read. Next readathon to talk about is the EurovisionAthon. It's currently going on, but it's continuing until the 14th of May, so I kind of had 2 weeks to actually get into it and read at least a few books. And the point of EurovisionAthon is to read books that relates to the countries that are competing in Eurovision Song Contest. The finale for the Eurovision Song Contest is on Saturday, the 14th of May, so you have until then to read the books. The number of points that the country gets for their song is the number of points that you get for reading a book representing that country. I love this idea. I think it's so much fun because it makes it so unpredictable, and like you can read 2 books but they end up being the first and second place in Eurovision and you've done amazing, or you can read 20 books but none of them actually get into the finale. So for this readathon I've basically been looking at what books do I have that relates to mainly European countries. Eurovision Song Contest is not exclusive to Europe, but basically it is only European countries and also Australia for some reason. If you look at my physical TBR that I have at the moment, we have the books I randomized and also the Wrath and the Dawn because it's for the Enchanted Book Club. I don't think any of these actually relates to Europe. Instead, I had to have a look on my shelves for books that would work. And there's actually one book that I think I'm gonna aim for to finish and read during these weeks, and that is Vinnarna by Fredrik Backman. Translated, it's called The Winners. This is the 3rd and final book in the Beer Town series. I started reading this back in November, I think, and I've only gotten like a 3rd through it, or a 4th. I need to continue with this one. I mentioned it on multiple occasions that I want to continue with this one. It's written by a Swedish author. I'm reading it in Swedish. It's taking place in Sweden, so obviously this would work for Sweden then. I'm not certain about the rules of reading books that you've already started for most of these readathons, but I'm gonna be a bit of a rule breaker this time and still count them because I'm doing 8 freaking readathons. Give me some slack. So this is the book I'm hoping to read within these 2 weeks. I then have a few other options. I try to look for books that I could relate to the UK, although the UK usually do really poorly in Eurovision Song Contest, and it's not their fault anymore. It's more like a meme that they just always get 0 points. So I don't think I would be doing myself a favor for EurovisionAthon if I were to read a book relating to the UK, but still I have a few options. I have 2 books by Agatha Christie. These are translated to Swedish, but still short mysteries. We have Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express. I have not read any of them before. Another option is Daniel Howell's book. Daniel Howell is a British YouTuber, so this is his sort of self-help, mental health, memoir, biography sort of book. And then just some other books on my shelves. I have The Wedding Party, which I believe is some sort of mystery, and it takes place on some Greek islands, so it would work for Greece. We have The Spanish Love Deception. It's a rom-com about a wedding that takes place in Spain, so it would work for Spain. We then have A Marvelous Light, which is written by an Australian author, and as I said, Australia for some reason competes in Eurovision Song Contest. So I could read this and count this for Australia. We have Vita Nostra, which is a Ukrainian book. Last option is Kingdom of the Wicked, which is inspired by Italy for some reason. Eurovision Song Contest works like this, that there are 2 semi-finales where like 20 countries compete in each of them, and only 10 from each semi-finale goes on until the finale. But then there's actually 5 countries that are always in the finale, so they always get points because they always compete in the finale. Those countries are UK, okay, they don't always get points, but those countries are UK, Spain, Germany, France, and then the winner from the previous year, which this year is Italy. So if I were to be smart, I would focus on reading my Swedish book, because I won't really do that. But then I would probably go for Kingdom of the Wicked and Spanish Love Deception and one of the British book. But as I said, Britain usually don't get that many points. I've heard a song for Ukraine and it's really good, although I'm not certain if Ukraine is competing this year because of the circumstances that's going on in the world. But reading Vita Nostra, if they were competing, would be a smart choice, because I think it's gonna do really well. I feel like this stack of books that I do have are all good potential books to read, like in order for me to gain the most points that I can in the readathon. My main aim will be to read The Winners by Fredrik Backman, and then we're gonna have to see what I can fit in. And I've also now made sure that I've signed up to the EurovisionAthon, so I'm signed up, I'm ready to go for that one. The next readathon is the final book support group. So this is the one that's happening for the first 2 whole weeks in May, 2nd until 15th. And basically the point is to finish your series or continue with your series. There is a bingo board for this one. I'm not going to use the bingo board. Steph herself said that she probably won't use the bingo board. So I just had a look on my shelves for what final books in series I do have. So let me grab that stack. So these are the 3 books I have that are the final books in various series. We have, as I already talked about, The Winners by Fredrik Backman, the final book in the Beartown series. It works perfectly for final book support group. And since the 2 readathons, EurovisionAthon and final book support group, they are going on at the same time, perfect read for that one. So this one I'm definitely reading. I also have The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is, as I said, the final group in the Kiss Quotient. I think it was released in August last year and I really like the series. It does kind of coincide with the Smut Den Readathon. So potentially I might save it for the last weekend of the final book support group readathon. And hopefully I can get a prompt that works for this particular book. I don't know what prompts it would be, but something. Then the final book I have is The Stone Sky, which is the 3rd and final book in the Broken Earth series. We had a read-along for this one that did not go that well because most of the hosts did not enjoy the book. I'm not the biggest fan of the series either, actually. I think I gave the first book 3 stars, the second book 2 stars, but I've heard that it all sort of comes together in this final one, and like I read 2 out of 3 and I own the book, so obviously I am going to read the final book at some point, but I'm not that excited about it at the moment. I'm not going to prioritize it. If I have literally nothing else to read during these couple of weeks, I will pick it up, but at the current moment I probably won't, but it's still an option. I just wanted to share it, that this is the 3rd final book I have. And that's it for the final book support group. None of these relates to Europe, unfortunately. This one is more Asian American, this one is more African American, I think. Those were the 2-week-long readathons that are happening. The Mafia romance, as I mentioned as well, if I read the Mafia romance Brutal Prince, we have the Irish Mafia, so I could read it for Ireland. I also had another option for Ireland, I realized. I've been thinking about reading Sally Rooney, so I do have conversations with friends. I thought she was British, I realized that she's Irish, and I'm already reading Brutal Prince for Ireland in the Mafia romance. So I would like to get to this one, but I don't know which Irish book I'm gonna go for, basically. So let's talk a bit about DesertAthon. At first I said that I'm aiming for the soft goal, which is to read 1 desert vibe book during the month of May. But as I said, since I will be aiming for more prompts in other month-long readathons, it feels a bit unfair to DesertAthon, so I am doing the board. So I'm going to draw the prompts for this one now, actually. Like, I have a few Desert Vibe books on my TBR at the moment. The Desert Vibe books I do have on my TBR are The Wrath and the Dawn, obviously, A Song of Raids and Ruin, which takes place in a desert. We have The Rune of Kings, which is a huge fantasy with dragons. I think it's desert vibes. And we have This Woven Kingdom. Although someone told me that apparently it takes place during wintertime in like a snowy setting. So please let me know, is this desert vibe or not? I thought it was, it looks like it is with the, is it like a moth or bee or something? It looks very desert vibe. Confirm if it is or not. Now I'm actually instead going to draw prompts. Esme has made this board with a bunch of prompts, and I've decided to use a 20-sided die in order to give me a bit of a chance to actually get a reasonable number of books here. I need to decide on a team as well. I haven't done that. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go with Scorpion because they have a special power where you can pick a prompt meant for another team. So when you land on a tile on the board and you don't like the prompt, you can actually look at the other prompts and pick one instead, and I feel like that's a good way for me to adapt the prompts a bit more to what's actually on my TBR now with all of these readathons. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna join Team Scorpio. You can only use this ability once though, keep that in mind. There's also a few wildcards options here. Clumsy Charlotte, I'm going for Scorpio. I'm in Steph's team, so that is nice. Okay, cool. I have it here on my gimbal. I have the board, I have a die that I'm gonna roll, and I will just use my finger because I can't be bothered. This is pretty much last minute. And then I'm also gonna use the die to randomize a card with a prompt. Because Esme has done like 20 cards, so I'm just gonna randomize which card because I haven't bothered with printing anything. You will see, it's gonna make sense. So let's start, I guess, with just from 1 to 20. I'm at start. Lovely finger, I know. Okay, let's go. First is 8, so I'm going up to 8, which is red. Red is Scorpio, okay, perfect. So it will be the red prompt. So I'm just gonna randomize a card from 1 to 20 and click go. 20, so I'm going to card 20, and on the 20th card, the red prompt is read a book with a short title. I have two options for this one that are on my TBR. We have either Bunny, one of the books that were randomly picked for me, or The Winners by Fredrik Backman. Both have only one word in their title, so I feel like these two work perfectly. Once again, I don't know what Esme thinks of me reading a book that I've already started for the readathon, like not starting from the beginning, but yeah, I need to read these two anyway for the other TBRs and readathons, so I have an option. Okay, we're doing good. And I'm taking notes as well, because I have a lot to remember. Okay, we're on 8 now, so let's roll the die again. 15, so 8 plus 15 and 4. 23, and it's another red. This is great. Okay, so we're on 23, it's another red, so now we're gonna pick the card number 3, and the prompt on card 3 for the red is read a book with some type of storm. Some type of storm? I don't know. What does this mean? Okay, I need to have a look into this. So I am thinking that it's possible that either one of these desert vibe books might have a storm featured in them. Not certain, but it's very possible. Or, I don't remember if there's a storm that happens at the start of this book. Could be, actually. There might be a storm happening in this book. One I'm fairly certain has a storm in it is A Stone Sky, because there's basically a bunch of apocalypses in this one, like natural disasters all the time, constantly. It's sort of the entire thing with the series. But as I said, I don't want to read this. We're on 23 now. Okay, moving forward quickly at least. So, at 23, let's roll the die again. Go. 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 39! Scorpio again! I mean, y'all must be proud, right? Perhaps I might be able to exchange the storm prompt for something else, by the way. I remembered my power. I might switch out the storm prompt as well. We're gonna have to see. So I'm gonna randomize a card. Card 2. And the prompt for card 2 is read a book with a red cover. Okay, this is perfect. This is good. I have two options for this one. We have the Wrath and the Dawn, but also the Ruin of Kings. Both has red covers. This is perfect. I need to read them in May. Perfect. Either one of these two. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Let's move on. Let's roll the die. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 50. Look at me go. Look at me go. I mean, Steph, please be proud. 50 is another red prompt. Let's randomize the card. Card 10. I'm going to card 10. The prompt on card 10 is read a book with a foiled cover. I have a bunch of those. I feel like this game is treating me so nicely. I did not expect this at all. But both This Woven Kingdom and A Song of Rage and Ruin have foiled covers, and these were originally on my May TBR as well for DesertAthon. These are Desert Vibe books. Things are working out. Preach. Life is good. Okay? This game is treating me nicely. I've only landed on red tiles, so I'm getting double points for my team all the time if I read the books. And the prompts perfectly match with the books I need to read. So we're at 50. Let's see if we can perhaps land this one. So at 50, go. 16. Well, would you look at that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I made it! I'm home! I'm in the goal! And basically, if you reach the middle, it's a wild card. You get to read whatever the heck you want. And obviously, I have choices. And I was worried about this game. Shouldn't have been. I only got 5 books to read. Most of them works with my already decided TBR. This is amazing. This is incredible. That's it for DesertAthon. Amazing, right? Look at me go. What's the next one? Okay, I'm ready to kill this now. Whew, I have so much more to do. The next readathon is the Asian readathon, hosted by Cindy. Once again, there's a soft goal if you want, and then there are mainly 5 prompts, and you can add more difficulty to these prompts if you'd like. Basically, the main point is to read a book that is written by an Asian author and or about an Asian protagonist. There are 5 prompts. I think I'm gonna aim for going for all 5 prompts actually. You can also add another level of difficulty to this readathon by making sure that each book you read, that the author has a different ethnicity than the other books you've read for the readathon. You're also allowed to combine prompts, so I might do that. We're gonna have to see. The first prompt is to read a book written by an Asian author. Basically, I just put out all my books I have by Asian authors, so let's look at them. This is the stack I have of Asian authors, so let's just go through it a bit. I could do it for The Wrath and the Dawn, because this author was born in Korea, I believe, so that would be one ethnicity. Heart Principle, I believe the author is... could it be Vietnamese? Or something like that? I think perhaps Vietnamese. Similar. We have The Ivory Key. I believe the story is inspired by Indian mythology, something like that, possibly. Never Let Me Go, a Japanese author. Also, I have Confessions by a Japanese author that I do need to read. Jade War, I believe she is of Chinese descent. It's Hong Kong Mafia inspired sort of story. Another one of the books I'm currently reading, so it would actually be nice if I could complete it. Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, as well as 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. And then we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So these are the books I have. I think the main ones I'm gonna aim for are, once again, The Heart Principle, Wrath and the Dawn. And then we need to see what I need to combine it with. So, but these are the 2 at least. The second prompt is to read a book featuring an Asian character who is woman and or older. I think I was considering to read Convenience Store Woman, which is written by a Japanese author, but I could probably also consider to read Confessions for this one, because Confessions is by a Japanese author, and I believe the story is about a mother. I don't know the age of the character, but I might as well read it and see if I can work with that. So I think for this one I'm gonna say that I will read Confessions. The third prompt is to read a book by an Asian author that has a universe you would want to experience, or a universe that is totally different from yours. I think this one is the fantasy one out of the 3 I mentioned, these 2 and Confessions. So I'm gonna say The Wrath and the Dawn could count for this one. As I said, you are allowed to double up. We then have read a book by an Asian author that has a cover worthy of googly eyes. I do like these covers, but they are not googly eyes for me. The covers that are googly eyes for me, I would say, are the 2 Elizabeth Lim books and also Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I think all of these covers are so stunning. Or wait, even better, This Woven Kingdom. The author is of West Asian descent. Her parents are immigrants from Iran. So this could definitely work. This definitely has a cover worthy of googly eyes. So I could use this one. That's great. And then I have another ethnicity as well. Fifth and final prompt is to read a book by an Asian author that has a high rating or was highly recommended. I mean, I'm certain that many of these books I have mentioned have high ratings. I'm gonna say that I could probably do with either one of these 3 that I just mentioned, because all of them have a rating higher than 4, which I would say is pretty good. I'm gonna double up on that one. And those are all the prompts for the Asian readathon. I'm making this work. Last and final readathon that I'm doing in May is the MedievalAthon, which is hosted by Holly Hart's books. There's more of a story. You start out as a prisoner and you level up for every book you read until you become the emperor or empress. And also you get to pick a career and you need to read books that fit that career. The thing with this one is that you need to read books in a certain order, I think. So that might be what's difficult, but let's have a look at the various prompts.
Later that same evening.
I feel like I've been sitting with this for hours, probably because I have. I've had a look at all the various careers and tried to figure out, okay, which prompts can I work with the best. I really love the prompts actually, they're a lot of fun. But despite the fact that I have like 20,000 books in front of me, they are quite difficult to match to the books I need to read, and I especially need to consider the first half of the prompts, considering that there are 2 readathons happening during the first half of May, EurovisionAthon and final book support group. I need to make sure that the first few books I need to read in MedievalAthon, since you need to read them in order, works with those Readathons. So basically books I can count for my EurovisionAthon books, and perhaps that might be final books in series. Mainly EurovisionAthon is the one I have tried to consider. The career that I'm aiming for is to become a bard. At first I wanted to become the baker, but I'm gonna be a bard instead because it worked out the best. I've made an Excel sheet and all of that now. The first prompt to become a bard is to read a book with a great first line. For this one, I will count The Winners by Fredrik Backman. I had a look and the first line is pretty great. The first line, if I translate it, because it's written in Swedish, is basically everyone that knew Benjamin Ovich, especially those of us that knew him well enough to call him Benji, probably knew deep inside that he was never one of those people that were gonna have a happy ending. That's the first line of the book. The first page of the book is incredible. So this is gonna be my first read, and this will most likely be the book I will pick up today because it works for EurovisionAthon, it works for MedievalAthon, and it works for DesertAthon, and also Final Book Support Group. Technically, Final Book Support Group has not started, it starts tomorrow, but I won't really finish it today. So this is my first read overall in May, which is great. The second prompt in the MedievalAthon is to read a book with a travel element in it. I have a couple of options for this one, but I think the one I'm going to go for is Float Plan, which is one of my books that were randomized for me in my May TBR. I think this one is available on Scribd as both an audiobook and perhaps an ebook, so that is great. It's about someone who goes sailing and meets like an Irish sailor or something, and they're sailing in Caribbean, so yeah, travel. Here's where it started to get a bit tricky for me. The third prompt is to read a book that has a character's name in the title. This one is difficult because I had a look at my shelves and I only have one book that even has a character's name in the title, and it's not a book I'm considering to read in May. You would think that considering all the books I have in front of me, I would have options, but I don't. But I'm bending the rules slightly, maybe, possibly, or like I'm finding a loophole. And for this one I will count Bunny. Why I will count Bunny? Well, because it's about some girls in the secret society or something at a university. Everyone in this group, they call each other Bunny. They refer to themselves as Bunny a lot. And my thought about this book is perhaps this Bunny persona will take over and they will all become bunnies. Not bunnies, but you know. So I think... Is that necessary? On a Sunday? I'm done. The fourth prompt in my journey to become a bard is to read a book with over 400 pages. Now, most of the books I have on my TBR are over 400 pages, like most of the DesertAthon reads. But the one I'm gonna pick for this one, mainly to further motivate me to actually read this one, is The Rune of Kings. This one is definitely over 400 pages. Yeah, it's over 700 pages. I have it so far on 2 TBRs. Like, it's required from my May TBR because it was randomly picked. I also have it on my DesertAthon TBR and now on my MedievalAthon TBR. I think it's good if I can squeeze this in on multiple TBRs, mainly because it will motivate me to actually pick it up. The fifth and final prompt I need to achieve to become a bard in MedievalAthon is to read a book written by multiple authors. And this one is quite difficult actually. I only have one book that fits that on my physical TBR, but I have figured out another option as well. Basically, if I were to go by my physical TBR, the only option I have is Gemina, because it's written by 2 authors, Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Don't tell me how many times you have seen this on my TBR, like, let's just ignore that. So that's one option, but once again, it's quite a chunky book. The other book I'm considering to read for this one, which is more likely, is actually to pick up a Christina Lauren book, because if you don't know, Christina Lauren is a pseudonym, like fake name for 2 authors. It's actually 2 women that writes under the name of 1 woman, and the names are Christina and Lauren, and they write together. So the one I'm considering to read from them is The Soulmate Equation. It's available as both an ebook and an audiobook on Scribd, which is perfect. So those are the books I need to read for MedievalAthon. I'm only gonna aim for those 5 books, and then if I happen to read more books throughout the month, which I hopefully will, considering how many books I have on my TBR, it will just help me to level up in the like board game part of it, but I don't need more prompts in order to become my occupation, basically. That's the planning for all 8 readathons and 4 book clubs that I plan on participating in May. This will be difficult because most of these are physical books, which reads slower than audiobooks for me. And also we have many fantasies and many longer books. No graphic novels, no short stories, no short novellas, no, these are long books. I'm actually very excited about this. It's been a lot of fun to plan this, even though I'm so tired now and my room is a freaking mess because I have books literally everywhere and I have done really nothing else today. But I just got some food delivered to my place, so I'm gonna eat that now. And then I need to sit down and freaking start my reading, because I need to read. The thing that's been the most difficult in this is, I think, to narrow it down and be smart. Planning the medieval books took the longest, mainly because those are the ones I need to read in a certain order, and I need that to work together with the other readathons I'm participating in. That's also the most fun part of it, to actually challenge myself in figuring out that order and what books are good if I read earlier in the month and so on. I'm so excited about these readathons actually, and wish me luck, because I'm gonna freaking need it. And perhaps I will do a check-in halfway through the month, and of course I will end this entire experience and challenge with some sort of wrap-up by the end of May, start of June. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Wish me luck.